So I was last ending the lecture talking about the complexity of even defining what Hinduism is. Okay, you know, I kind of visualize it myself to be similar to the situation we see with um, Canaan, since we already discussed ancient Canaan, and let's say the debate about how Canaanite the ancient Israelites were or were not. But what we do know is that the Canaanite culture shared certain terms, certain names of gods that were shared. So El for God was interpreted by ancient Israelites different than some of their neighbors, but they understood that term and it was used. El. Um, you had one picture, obviously, of Yahweh depicted and with a consort. But then in the ancient Israelite religion, this would be abhorrent. So here was two different ways of looking at Yahweh and so forth. And so how I see it is that just as ancient Israelite religion stands out on its own and comes out on its own through time, it probably it's fair to say that no matter which way we break it down, there was all this shared history that they had there. But much of those religions are now all they've faded away into the past. In the Hindu world, we just see this wide variety of various gods and practices within the religion flourishing, and we have this term, this umbrella term that simplifies it or not to call it Hinduism. Okay, so you'll kind of see a little bit more what I mean by that as we move along. Um, so first of all, Brahman is a supreme creator and universal being. Brahman is everything manifested in innumerable forms and shapes. So Hinduism, despite many gods, can be considered monotheistic. Now, you might say, what? I mean, there is a text within the Hindu world that claims that there exists 330 million gods. I don't even think that that's actually traceable, and most likely that's an extreme hyperbole. But having said that, many Hindus will actually claim that they are monotheists. Christians and Muslims certainly don't see it that way, are certainly not often the case. Well, let me just go back to just this concept of the Trinity. Think that in mainstream Christian Orthodox teaching, God empties himself into the flesh. He pours himself into the flesh, however you want to describe it. And Jesus is manifested as a human being, although he is actually considered to be God by, like I said, Orthodox Christianity. Not all Christians believe that, but that's a good chunk of the Christian world. And they believe in the Trinity, God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Those are three aspects of one deity. So Christians say we are monotheists. And people on the outside say, well, you believe in three gods, it looks like to me. And Muslims definitely kind of point out to the Christians, even in the Quran, and say later they said, what kind of monotheism is this three business going on here, right? Okay, so but with Hinduism, all of these stories of gods, for some thinkers within the Hindu world, all the various stories and different gods and goddesses and all of that are manifestations. Just they're simply the ultimate God pouring himself out into these stories and entities, breaking himself up. It's kind of like the Trinity that the Christians believe in, multiplied like 1,000. Okay, does that make sense? So that's a way in which some Hindus see themselves as being believers of one God. Okay, and guess what? They have a Trinity. a part of their belief system on top of that. So you have Brahma is the Hindu god of creation, and one and then you have Vishnu, the sustainer, and then you have Shiva, the destroyer. And this is Trimurti, these three aspects put into one. Okay, so already right here, it's interesting, right, that Hinduism has its own triune god system. Another thing to just take note is that they do have major branches. So you have Shaivism or Shaivanam or Vaishnavism. What one is focuses on Shiva, and the other one focuses on Vishnu. Okay, so one says so the one that focuses on Shiva is one of the four most widely followed sects of Hinduism, and reveres Shiva as the supreme being in which all these other manifestations come out. The other one places Vishnu, and then Krishna is especially looked upon as a full manifestation of Vishnu and as one with Vishnu himself. And you have the Hare Krishnas, if you ever met them, especially if you go to a university in like Santa Cruz or San Francisco, they come out and try to recruit you into their religion, convert you. But they're one aspect, okay, the Hare Krishnas of this other this belief system. So it's not even the same as comparing Catholic and Protestant or Shiite and Sunni Muslims. Okay, it's literally believing in the same kind of gods, using the same kind of text, but then actually focusing on different manifestations of these gods as the actual manifestation of the ultimate Godhead. I hope that was clear. All right. So there's other Hindu scriptures as well. Actually, there's many. So for Christians and for Muslims, you have the Bible, you have Quran. Hinduism has a wide range of texts. I mean, Christianity and Islam also has a wide range, which you'll see, but not to the extent that Hinduism does. So the Upanishads are Vedic philosophy, and it's not easy reading. Just to point out, I mean, I've tried to read it several times. It's definitely much more abstract and interesting. So feel free to always pick up a text. You can find it online. It's written between 700 BCE onwards. And then there's the Puranas, which are composed between 500 BCE and 500 CE. And here you have the history of the universe from creation to destruction, genealogies of kings, heroes, and demigods, and descriptions of Hindu cosmology and geography. All right. So the Upanishads are going to be more for elite kind of scholars of Hinduisms. Puranas are going to be more a part of popular culture. And then you have the Mahabharata, which is one of the longest single poems in the world, 100,000 stanzas. Wow. Which means it probably also was not written by one person. It was written down somewhere between 400 BCE and 400 CE, and it tells the legends of Aryan tribes and battles over land rights from events that were to take place around 1700 BC. So it's kind of based on some historical events mixed in with all of these religious elements to it. And then you have the Ramayana. And I don't expect you again to memorize all of this. And I'm just pointing out that, and this one in particular, the Ramayana is a very popular story with Hindu culture as opposed to just the clergy. Okay. And the most significant that I want to talk about is the Bhagavad Gita. So I am going to end this lecture here, come back to this. We'll kind of finish up this first section on ancient India.